Welcome to the NBK podcast. This is episode number 4. I'm Simeon Russell. We're here with Ebru and Raw Hebrew Remnant. Can't talk today. I don't know what's going on, man. Yeah, right? How many takes we gonna do?
Take 3.
What's going on with y'all fellas, man? How you feeling today?
Everything is good, man. It's a cold day today in New York. Jesus.
Oh, yeah? It's cold day?
Yeah, we actually had a little bit of snow. Nothing stuck, but it was going sideways. It's really cold today.
So it's like the Hawkeyes out for real up there, or what? Is it just like?
I mean, today the Hawk was out there. I think.
Oh,
you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but but it's supposed to be 50 degrees later in the week, so I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah. It's cold. It's cold where I'm at too, man. It's getting cold. It was supposed to snow yesterday. It said something about snow. Obviously, we didn't get it. We didn't get any, so.
No, it was cold yesterday, man. I went out. I did my power walk yesterday. It was cold out there. Man.
Yeah.
It was cold out there.
The weather is changing. The weather is changing.
The season.
It's that season.
That means basketball.
That means basketball
season is here.
Yeah, it's here. It's weird, but it's here. You know what I'm saying? 2 days. The Knicks playing 2 days, fellas.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Man, I'm ready.
I got
my practice jersey on.
That's right.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man.
That's right.
I can't wait. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they look like under Tom Thibodeau. That's the main thing I'm excited for. I'm not worried about, obviously I want to have breakout players and I want to see this guy do well and that guy do well. I want to see Obi do well. I want to see RJ take a step forward. Want to see Knox take a step forward. But mainly, I want to see how they play under Tom Thibodeau because I feel like we haven't seen these guys play under a really competent coach. And Mike Miller is unfounded right now, you know what I mean? Or unproven, let's just say that, not unfounded. It's unproven. We haven't seen what these guys look like under a guy like Tom Thibodeau and the expectations that he's going to have of the team.
That's right.
And I think that's so different. To me, the expectations that you put on yourself, the expectations that if you're a coach, you lay out for your players, if you're a teacher, that you lay out for your students, means a lot. Because if you expect your students to fail, well, a good portion of them might fail, right? Mm-hmm. But if you expect your students to do well, then a higher percentage of those students are going to do well because of the expectations that you lay out there, you know? And I feel like Tom Thibodeau is going to lay out some expectations. I'm not saying what those expectations are because I don't know, but I feel like he's going to lay out expectations, high expectations. And I'm excited to see how they look. Obviously, the first game is going to be sloppy, probably. You haven't seen them play in 9 months. Play like professional basketball, so it might be a little bit sloppy. But I think it's going to come together.
Tom Thibodeau has a reputation, man. So, he's going to want guys to play a certain way. So if they're not living up to his reputation, that's a big thing too. He put expectations on the players, but the coach himself, he has his style. Everyone knows that he's hard-nosed and stuff like that. So he's going to do extra, to make sure that his style, that his persona is received into that team.
Yeah. And you're, like you said, your persona, people are going to follow after their leader, whether or not you like the coach or whatever it is, somehow, some way, his message is going to trickle down into your system, into your style of play, and it's going to show up on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to happen with Tom Thibodeau. I think everyone is going to like Tom Thibodeau.
What I'm excited about is I see all the young kids have bought in, and that's real important, man. All of the kids have bought in, and when you have your group has bought in, like I was mentioning today, that you can see last year the first half under Fizdale, the team had stopped buying in. That was it. He lost them. And then they got a little spark back when Miller came. But the kids are hyped. They're bought in. Everybody, the young players that we have, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank, RJ, they're all bought in, and so that's going to play. So I'm not really looking for major things this coming game. What I want to see is the framework of what he's doing. So, like we were talking about today, I think they're going to run, and I think they're going to play pressure defense, and I just want to see the framework of that. I want to see what it looks like when they come out. Like you said, Sim, they're going to be sloppy. They haven't played, in 9 months or 10 months. I don't know how long it is, but and so I'm just going to be happy to see Knicks uniforms, in a game, because we watched the bubble over the summer. We didn't see the Knicks, so now we're going to see players in Knicks uniforms on a game. We're going to see a lot of players the young players that carried over from last year. I mean, aside from your Obies and your Quickleys, you got all of our young players from last year. So I want to see them. I want to see how they have developed. I want to see what they look like. And I think we're going to get an opportunity. I think he's going to play everybody pretty much. I don't know how many of the guys that are on the fringe he's going to play, but of the guys that we're talking about, the young guys that are carrying here from last year, I think they're all going to play. And I just want to see what they look like, and I want to see what the framework of his system looks like.
Yeah. And like you said, it's going to be sloppy. We're going to see the Julius Randle spin move probably at least once until Tom Thibodeau says, hey, if you don't cut that out, you'll be cutting splinters out your butt on the bench if you don't cut that out. Right. So don't get upset, ladies and gentlemen. You're probably going to you might see it on Friday. It might happen. We got to leave it up to Tom Thibodeau to take it out.
I don't think Tom would get too ticked off at that unless he's turning the ball over. But I think I want to see what happens when the first time Julius Randle has to switch, come from a double team and get back to his man and doesn't do it. I want to see what Tom Thibodeau reaction is.
Right. And the first preseason game, I mean, I don't know. I think maybe the first preseason game he might just be looking. Like you said, a lot of guys are going to play. He might just be looking to see what the guys got. Let me see what I have out here. Because you can see only up to so much in training camp scrimmaging against one another. Right? Yeah. Once you get out there against a different competition, now you get to see how the guys react under pressure, a little bit of pressure. Not that the game could be tight. I don't know, but it's just a different atmosphere and a different pressure when you're playing against somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. You get to see how they react under the referees, under the lights. Now things are going to be different because there's no fans there, right? So that adds into everything. But so I think the first game, he'll be, looking to see what exactly do I have? How do guys play under the whistle against other teams? In a game under, pressure from me coaching them, how can they execute what I've been trying to teach them, although it's only been a week, right? Yeah. So there's not a lot of there's a lot of teaching going on from what the players say inside of practice, but, relevant to, or I don't even know if I use the right word, not relevant, but, in relation to a normal preseason where you got 4 weeks of practice. Yeah. How much can you really get in?
The most important thing with that is that Tom Thibodeau put out there that he wanted guys to be in shape. And every single video that we've seen, even just like the little, because I think the videos are kind of staged. Some of the videos they've been posting on Instagram and stuff like that, just to show like they've been trolling us, with the Randall and the Obi Toppin and stuff like that. But before, I want to key on our guy Iggy Brazikas. Mm-hmm. He looked a little chubby last year, even through Westchester and stuff like that. But they showed a picture of him, and he looks like his face is all sunken in. He doesn't have any baby fat. Man. Yeah, he looks chiseled, and that can go down the line for every single player on the team. Everybody's chiseled, and to me, especially with the interviews that they've been having, everyone has a business that has their game face on. Nobody's taking any jump. And I feel like they already took the persona. So, like you said, as soon as they get under the whistle, then we'll see how they do with that. But I think as far as business, everybody got their briefcase. Everybody got their notes and stuff. Their ties and their suits are nicely pressed. So I think guys are ready to go, man.
Yeah, I agree. Because, when you hear someone's name, how many times have you people out there listening, you get a new boss and you hear stuff about that man or woman and you're like, oh, snap. What's about to go down?
I get that every day on the day job, man. Every day on the day job.
Oh.
So, oh man, this guy is here. You know what he did when he used to work back in the days. You know what he used to do, man. You wasn't there when we was there. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I get that whole thing.
Exactly. So it's the same thing. You hear Tibbs coming, you're like, oh snap. You know what's about to happen when we get into practice now. We got Tibbs.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And guys come accordingly. They come accordingly, Yeah. But yeah, I think Hebrew, I think you're right, man. It's going to be the nuts and bolts because there's just not a lot of time to put in a lot of stuff. A week you just can't do it.
I think first off, the whole thing's a test because the whole league is dealing with this. It's not just the Knicks. So, and remember, Detroit is starting a rookie point guard, and they got a lot of new players on their team as well. So it's going to be, it's going to be. I'm not really worried about the outcome of the game. I just want to see how, if they're in shape. I want to see how they're doing. I want to see what kind of style can we expect from Tom Thibodeau, because whoever he's playing, he's going to play the game in the framework that the regular season is going to be like. You're going to see whatever they do. And I want to see how effective it is. It's New York. So you're going to get a lot of people draw a lot of conclusions from Friday and from Sunday. You can't pay attention to that. What's going to be real important though, practice on Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when they go to practice on Monday, that's going to be hell to pay because he's going to get up in there behind and that day because everything that happened over the first two games, he's going to see what the deal is. And now I'll be honest with you, though. I'm going to be honest on a separate note. If they keep Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and cut Iggy Brazdeikis, I'm going to be very upset. I'm just telling you. I'm going to be very upset. I really am because they drafted Iggy. See, some of us watched Iggy in the G League, and the boy has worked hard and he's developed and he's put his time in. So, if you could tell me, if Tom says, well, I don't think he's ready for the NBA, okay, I could live with that. But from what I've seen, the kid should have a spot on the team. I don't know about the rotation, but he should have a spot on the team. And you don't bring in some cat from Kentucky that been in the league gazillion years and
somebody that just got off the train. He just got off the train. And you put him on the team. You got a guy that you drafted. No, man. I want to see. I'm thinking Iggy's gonna make the team. So I'm just not going to get upset. I'm going to stay cool. But I will be upset if they cut him and keep Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. I will be upset about it.
Now, Iggy should have the inside track because he already has a contract. He's already got a guaranteed contract. So,
that's right.
He should have the inside track on that position.
Yeah, another thing with the contracts, there's a lot of guys on one-year deals, so everybody should be hungry. If you guys want to play in the NBA, if you guys want your next contract, no matter if you make the team or not, if you want to be in the NBA, you guys need to start banging out. Because everybody, there's not how many people do we have that's on the multi-year contract? Everybody, basically everybody's on a 1 year. Basically, everybody's on a 1 year deal.
Everyone except for RJ, Obi Toppin, right? They're on multi-year deals right now. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, Randall.
What Emmanuel Quickley's deal is like. I'm sure it's probably a multi-year since he's a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, every first-round pick has a 3-year deal and then a 4th-year team option.
Yeah. And then Randall he's essentially a 1-year deal.
Yes, he is.
Right? Because there's a team option at the end of this season. So essentially he's a 1-year deal as well.
So we got 10 guys. We got 10 guys that's fighting for spots, man. So if these guys don't come out hungry, if they're on the side sulking already in preseason and stuff like that, I'm gonna lose my top. Because that I don't expect because like I said, with the reputation of Tom Thibodeau, and you show up in that way, it's going to be hell to pay, not just for them in practice, but for them on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday or whatever until the next big game.
Yeah,
that's what I like about Tom Thibodeau though, because let's just say for the sake of argument, 4 guys don't show up, or they come in the game and you can see they're winded and they're not in shape. He just won't play them. Simple as that. He just won't play them. He's going to play the guys that are ready to play according to his system.
Yeah. But you know what you were saying, Ebro, it can provide. I don't want to say provide. It can be an issue when you have so many guys on a 1-year deal because they're all playing for their jobs. They're all playing for the next contract. Like it or not, it is a business in the NBA. Now, you would think that it would make them all play extra hard. So that's one benefit, is that you would think all of them are going to play extra hard. But some of the guys that maybe don't play or are not getting used the way they thought they were going to be used, I guess we would see how that plays out. You know what I mean?
That cream will rise. Hopefully that cream rises.
Yeah. But you know, just looking at the preseason, you know, like we're saying, we just want to see some of the nuts and bolts of what these guys maybe can do when you finally get into the season, which is about 2 weeks away. Those teams who have been together longer are obviously going to benefit, right? Because they're a little bit used to each other. You know, they got players that have been together for 3-4 years or whatever it is. You know, so those teams will benefit. And it could be a reason why you see a lot of R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, Julius Randle, Elfrid Payton, Dennis Smith Jr., because they were here last year. Reggie Bullock, right? Because they have at least a little bit of chemistry and continuity because they've been here before, right? They were all here last season. So Mitchell Robinson, I didn't mean to leave Mitch's name out. You know, so those guys, I think that's about seven guys that I named, 8 guys that we named. I would expect to see a lot of those guys, at least from the beginning of the season, because they've been here. And then, of course, Obi is going to play.
Yeah.
You know.
It's going to be, you know, and not only that, being that it's the first game, if they are going to be pressing and playing heavy, you know, movement, defense, and putting, you know, running and stuff, they're gonna be winded quickly. Not because they're out of shape, but it's the nervousness, you know, and you know, they're gonna be a little winded quickly. There's gonna be a lot of stuff the first game. They're gonna be a little sloppy. They're gonna be a little winded quickly because they're little hyperventilation going on, you know, stuff like that. But I think by Sunday's game, you know, like you said, Sim, some of the guys that have played together, and that's a benefit of having some continuity with some of these young guys. They will be a little bit more ready. Like today, like a quick first, Thibodeau mentioned, and it gave a little insight into, you know, why he really doesn't play rookies a lot. He said, first thing he said, they got to get used to the speed of the game, which we know. And then he said, interesting thing, he said they have to learn the tendencies of their opponents. Which, you know, they're not going to know that. Like Quickley said today, he said he knew that the NBA game was faster, but he didn't realize how much faster until he was on the court with NBA players. And that's really how it is. Like, you know, unless you're there, unless you're on the floor, you really can't appreciate the speed and athleticism that you're going to get from NBA players. So that's why I can understand why it's not like he doesn't like rookies. I think what it is he understands that what he said, there's a learning curve. Yeah. And so, you know, so that's why I'm not sure how much time Emmanuel Quickley is going to get during the season. I'm not saying he's not going to ride the pond continually, but I'm not sure if he's going to get as many minutes as some of the other guys that are more experienced, because he's got to have that learning curve. Every rookie does. And so, but I am very encouraged by what Tom said in terms of his shooting ability in the camp. You know, so he's shooting very well.
Yeah, let's take a listen to what he said about Emmanuel Quickley. I got the clip right here. And this is exactly what Raw just quoted to you. This is what Ted's saying. So take a listen.
Yeah. You know, like I think the one thing is he's got a great skill already. He could shoot the ball as well as anyone in the league. You know, he's a great shooter. And so, and now it's learning, you know, all the other parts of the league and his team. So the defensive part is usually the biggest adjustment for guys coming in. And then, of course, understanding the tendencies of the players and the teams. And learning his teammates, but also the game is a lot different. The college game is very different from the NBA game. So there's an adjustment period that you go through. But I love his enthusiasm, great work ethic, great student of the game. He's in early, he stays late, he comes back at night. He does all the things that you would like a rookie to do.
And John Wallace, when
You
John
know, like, I
Wallace
think-
was on the show. Sorry about that. When John Wallace was on the show, I mean, he basically backed up these sentiments. Now, Tom Thibodeau was, his rookie coach, basically. Right? He was the coach that worked with all the rookies. John Wallace was a rookie. And Jeff Van Gundy was the head coach. But we all know that Tom Thibodeau comes from the same ilk as Jeff Van Gundy. And basically, he said with Jeff Van Gundy, you had to know so many minute details. And if you didn't know those details, you weren't playing. Right? You had to know that Glenn Rice was going to do a 2-dribble pull-up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And how were you going to defend that 2-dribble pull-up? And you would get quizzed on it. And if you didn't know these things, you're sitting on the bench.
What do you
gonna
think,
play.
Sim? You think Tom is going to do the same thing, don't you?
I think Tom is going to do the exact same thing. And that's when you
Absolutely.
get the trouble with some of the rookies. Because while some of them come from some really good programs, you probably don't have that level of scouting. Where you have so much footage on these players that you know all of their tendencies, right? And so you can defend them based on their tendencies. Now some of the players that we have on the team now are probably going to need to learn that as well, but they've been in the league for a little while, so they know what they've seen these guys. They may not have it memorized the way that Tom Thibodeau is going to ask them to memorize it, but they have an idea of who can do what and who does what. Right, so it's going to benefit some of the older guys.
Well,
That's
the thing
where
with coaching.
IQ comes in.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Ebu. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say something about the coaching. The college coaching is just way different. They micromanage. They tend to call plays every time down, yelling and screaming. In the pros, you're not going to see that level of yelling and screaming and meticulous stuff where they're running straight up running plays, but you have to know the play. In the NBA, these guys they kind of just let them go. You have to know where guys are going to go. You can't just be on the court and don't know that these guys are about to run something. Or you can't be guarding somebody, like you said, somebody that likes to do 2 dribbles pull up. If you know the guy loves to come off screens, you can't just be out there blind like you don't know what's going on. This is a pro game. They don't have time for it. If you want to learn that, they're gonna probably send you to the G League and stuff like that. It's just an upgrade in the talent level. But yeah.
No, I'm just agreeing with you very much. Upgrade the talent level, very much, very much. But the thing is that that's what you guys are describing is what partially constitutes high IQ. Okay, so if you're a player, and that's why I'm very confident. I'm very confident that Kevin is going to have a good year. I always perceived that he has the mind. He just needed to be coached up and then have the proper development, which obviously he did not get, but I think he's going to get it now. And he has said how much time Thibodeau has spent with him over the summer. And so with that, and now he's going into his 3rd year, as you alluded to, Sim. He's going his 3rd year, so he's not looking at none of these guys for the first time that he's going to be playing against. Okay, and he's going to be able, whereas it's almost like, it's a shame, but it's almost like when you in the neighborhood and you the new dude and everybody's gonna try you, right? But once you get your reputation, nobody messes with you no more because you got your so now he's gonna be one of the dogs he's not older, but he's been there. So he's gonna look at a guy like Killian Hayes and he's gonna lick his chop. He's this guy don't even know what's going on yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he can so I'm expecting guys like that, and so that's what I want to see. I want to see that type of development because I know what you said, Sim, is very important because he's going to expect that type of detail. And he mentioned it. He said, I'm going to expect this detail. And people have said that. Some of the players said he's into details. Frank said he's into accountability. Mm-hmm. So I'm very excited. See, like I said, everybody's like, the Knicks need talent, man. We just got talent. His name is Tom Thibodeau. And I'm excited.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wanna, just continuing on with Tom Thibodeau, and couple of days ago, he was asked about the starting five, I think Monday or the first day of camp. The first day of camp, he was asked about the starting five.
I know.
Right, the first day of camp on Sunday, somebody asked him, like, do you have a starting five yet? It's like, bro, they just stepped on the floor together. What are you talking about? But
some of the reporters, man, oh my gosh. Some of the reporters, you're like, what
they're just out of touch, man.
Yeah.
They're doing a job just like anything, man. They're not really attached to this thing.
It's crazy, but right now, he might have an idea of what his starting five is going to be for Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if you looked at practice the other day. If you take anything from this, you had the blue and the white jerseys, right? In the blue jerseys with Elfrid Payton, Alec Burks, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel. Those guys were in the blue jerseys. So far, from what I can see with the pictures that they put out, guys that were in the white jerseys were Frank Ntilikina, Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, Obi Toppin. I don't know who else was in the white jersey. I think maybe DSJ or something.
Was that always the case? So I just found this out this week because does blue mean the starters? I didn't know that.
Looking in the past when they would put out training camp clips and stuff like that, and you looked at who was on the blue squad, you kind of knew, like, yeah, that was the starting guys on the blue squad.
Okay, I didn't know that. So I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's a hard assumption, though. That'll kill you. Assumptions will kill you.
It is a hard assumption, but I know when I watched last year and in years past, and you seen the blue and the white squad, and then you watch the games, there was a correlation between who was in the blue and the white squad.
Well, if that's what you saw, right? I like that second unit, man.
Yeah.
I like that second unit.
Yeah.
I like those are the four youth that we want to see playing. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
And the thing is that when everybody sees, like, let's say you see a starting five of when you mentioned this coming Friday, right? During the course of the season, you're going to see all kind of combinations, and what's going to happen is what I like about Thibodeau and I like about Woodson and I like about Johnny Bryant, they're into analytics. So you're going to see what starting fives are most effective, what combinations are effective, right, and you're going to see those guys play. So I'm not worried about what we're looking at right now. I really am not. I want to see over time in the game situation, you're going to see who shows up, and that's who's going to, So
I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Yeah,
the starting five is going to be, there's no way this guy's going to be in the starting five. There's no way. I said, what? We're going to see. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to argue about that. You're going to see. Yeah. We're going to see in just a few days. We're going to see.
You're going to see. And you know what? I'll be honest. If it ended up being that first five and then that second five, I mean, how much fun will it be to see that second five come into the game? All young kids, man. All young kids coming in to play the ball, coming in to play ball.
What you said? You said Mitchell, Obi, Frank, Kevin, right?
Mitch, Obi, Frank, Kevin, and possibly DSJ. Austin Rivers is out right now. We don't even know if Austin Rivers is going to play in the first preseason game because he has a groin injury.
Thibodeau said he held him out of practice today, so he's not playing. But
he got the groin injury,
and then he also said he's behind. He said that.
Right. So when you're looking right now from the beginning, just talking about the preseason, who knows what's going to happen when the season starts? There's 4 preseason games. That it could be that's what you see. Right. And I won't mind. I will enjoy seeing that second unit play. I'll love to see that second unit play.
If he does what I think he's going to do, what you're going to see if he does that, because if they're going to be running and pressing, I think he's going to do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see RJ with that second unit.
Oh yeah.
He runs the first unit and then he carries him over to the second unit and then he brings in one of those other 4 guys and gives RJ a blow. But hey, listen, I'd like to see that.
Yeah, and somewhere in there, Reggie Bullock will fit in there somewhere, I guess, right? Because he's probably going to play under Tom Thibodeau. I would think he's probably going to play some. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Dennis Smith Jr. because Tom Thibodeau talked a lot about Dennis Smith Jr. today. Well, he was asked a question about Dennis Smith Jr., so I don't want to say he just talked about him, right? But he talked about what he's seen from Dennis Smith Jr. so far in training camp. All right, let's take a listen. Let me get this up here. Here we go.
You know, and again, I saw him quite a bit this summer, and so I think he's come into camp. He's been very aggressive. I think each day he's gotten better and better, and so that's what we're asking him to do: to run his team, keep us organized, take advantage of what your strengths are, your ability to get downhill, to force people to collapse, and then make the right play. And he can score the ball. He's shooting the ball pretty well right now, but he's making good plays also.
Now, before we even get into it, I want to clear one thing up. Somebody sent me a tweet, right? And, you know, we talk all the time on Twitter. And he was like, yeah, you know, Tom Thibodeau said to run this team, da-da-da. I think he said to run his team.
Yes.
To run his team, not this team.
Right.
Right? So, listen, I'm not discounting that Dennis Smith Jr. could start. But I don't want to take from that. I think some people were taking from this clip here that Dennis Smith Jr. is a clear-cut starter. I don't think so. Because I don't think he said run this team. I'm pretty sure he said run his team. And his team, normally when you say run his team, that means that your team is not the starting team. But it could be that he's a starter.
Well, this is the thing. All right. Now, look, I always listen to what they're not saying. Okay. So like when he said about Obi Toppin, he's ready offensively, which means to me he needs to get better defensively. Mm-hmm. When he said about Frank, he's versatile defensively, which means he said, I want to see what he could do, which means let me see what he could do offensively. Yeah. I already know what he could do defensively. So let's talk about what he said about Dennis Smith Jr. He's talked about his shot, improve it. He talked about what he can do going downhill. He didn't mention anything about defense. Number one. Number two, he said, I want him to continue to work on his conditioning. He didn't say that about Kevin. He didn't say it about anybody else. He said, I want him to continue, which tells me if Dennis Smith Jr. was a peak condition right now, he wouldn't have had to say that.
True.
So I'm thinking, okay. So he's saying, I'm pulling for you, Dennis, but I want you to get in better shape. And I want you to play to your strength. And one of the things about every great coach, and I want to see, I think you'll agree with me, is great coaches, really great coaches, will play to the team and the player's strength to put them in position to be successful. Okay. And so what Fizdale was doing, for example, he tried to make Kevin Knox a 2-guard and make Frank a 3. I mean, he wasn't playing to the player's strengths. He was envisioning what he wanted them to become, but he wasn't playing to their strength. Thibodeau mentioned he gets downhill. I want him to be able to make the right play. That's an IQ. That's just checking your IQ right there. I want him to make the right pass. So to me, what I'm seeing is he's pulling for Dennis, but that he's not saying Dennis is starting. He's not even saying how many minutes Dennis will get. I think he's going to get minutes, but he's not talking about starting.
Yeah, I don't think he's talking about starting either. You know. No. I don't think so either.
Yeah, people really read into too much of that stuff. Because, I mean, just a few days ago, they were talking about Frank Ntilikina, how, you know, all the fans, I'm talking about Twitter was going crazy. See, I told you he was going to love him. I told you he was going to be the starter. He's going to have his greatest year, you know, under Tom Thibodeau. Like you can't, the assumption will, like I said earlier, assumption will kill you. You can't just go by what little thing that you think you might have heard or whatever. So you just have to let this play out. Yeah. Like I said, reading between the lines, what the guy's not saying. Body language in these videos is very important. Tom Thibodeau is making me laugh because he's sitting there. There's a meme where he's like doing like this in the Chicago Bulls uniform. He's basically doing the same thing. Every time they ask him a question, he's like sitting there. He's like laughing like a little kid. You know, so he's having a great time. Man, he's like to me, Tom Thibodeau is like a caricature of us. So I'm glad that he's here because the team is in good hands with Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah. And here's what he was saying about Dennis Smith Jr. and getting in shape and being in shape. Because someone asked him about his shooting, right? You know, Dennis Smith Jr. has been working with Abdul Rauf over the summer to get his shooting right, which he needed. He definitely needed to work with someone because after last summer, his shot got worse. His form got worse. Everything got worse. He was supposed to work with, who was it, Craig? I forgot who it was, but he was supposed to work with him.
I think Keith Smart, right?
Keith Smart. He was supposed to work with Keith Smart. Right? He was supposed to work with Keith Smart, and his shot got... It looked terrible when he came into the
Smart
season.
hit one shot in 1987. All of a sudden, he's a pro shoot guy.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
JSJ was looking like JSJ was looking like Nate Robinson in that ring and stuff. You know, as soon as he got punched, he forgot how to shoot. He worked on a jump shot all summer. As soon as he got into a game and people played defense, he just forgot all about it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I give Dennis Smith Jr. a big pass for last year. First, his back was hurt. His back was hurting him, and that could have affected how he would shoot the ball. And then, of course, with his stepmother dying and his head being messed up, I just say I'm giving him a clean slate for last year and saying let's forget last year. When I talk about any of his stats, I don't even include last year because that was just a year. You just got to put that away. That's just like a bad game, a bad nightmare. Put it away. I want to see what happens to him this year based on what he has done, before last year. So let's give him a chance. I want to give the kid a chance, because obviously he's athletic. I actually, and I think most of you will understand. I like Frank better, but I'm not saying Dennis Smith is no slouch. I want to see Dennis Smith thrive. Because you know what? If he busts it out, that's good for our team.
Yeah,
so
exactly. He's the one guy that has some explosiveness at that point guard spot that none of the other guys have. Here's the thing about both of those, about Frank and DSJ. They both have things that I think you can't teach. Right? Yeah. You can teach defense, but I don't think you can teach the kind of defense that Frank plays.
You can't teach 7-foot wingspan, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. He has great instincts too.
He has great instincts. He has great instincts, a really good defensive IQ. Right? And I don't think you can teach it. I think that's just him. That's what he does. Yeah. Dennis Smith Jr. is a freakish athlete. You can't teach it.
Freakish athlete.
A freakish athlete. You can't teach it. So if you can teach him some other things about the game, some of the nuances and of the game, and teaching him how to run a team, right? Which I think he struggled with a little bit last year because there was a lot of pressure on him to learn how to run a team. I think that played a part into how his performance last year as well, because he was trying to learn how to be that point guard, I think, and he struggled. Right. Yeah. So there was a learning curve. When do I score? When do I explode? When do I facilitate? Right. That's for a guy who's come from systems where it was about him. Right. You can score when you want to score. If you want to score, score. Now you're being asked to learn how to facilitate and think about other people first. That's not easy. Right? That's not easy at all. Frank, that comes naturally. That's what he does. He's got to learn the opposite. When do I go and score? Right? He's got to learn the opposite. Dennis Smith Jr., he's got to figure that part of the game out. And it's not going to be an easy task. But I think Tom Thibodeau is the kind of coach that's going to say, do what you do, and we'll bring you along in that area. And that could benefit Dennis Smith Jr. Right?
I think he will. I think what it is that, okay, and a lot of people, that, to me, just a lot of people just look at this too cursorily, man. If you're looking at Dennis Smith Jr. has started more than 100 games. I'm not even talking about last year. Just throw last year out. You take last year, he has still started more than 100 games and played 28 minutes a game. And he still struggles setting up his offense. He still struggles with that. So let's assume for the sake of argument, he never picks up how to actually run a team as a point guard. He is still a valuable piece because if you're a pressing, running team, and you bring him off the bench, he's going to be dynamic, man. So, the only thing is what we want to, I think what the Knicks are going to find out is whether if he does pick up the IQ part and learns how to run a team, he's going to be a really good high-level player in the NBA. But if he doesn't, he still can be effective because you can bring him off the bench as an attack dog and just say, go in there and attack, play aggressively, and go after it. And he would do very well in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Knicks fans, they're not gonna like this because a lot of people hate Elfrid Payton, but the reason why he's here is because we have a problem with setting up offense and running teams and stuff like that. You could say anything you want about Elfrid Payton's jump shot or his ability to do whatever. Maybe he passed around a little bit too much, but that was on Fizdale's fantasy. They were all playing out Fizdale's wet dream. Right. But when it comes down to running a team and stuff like that, Elfrid Payton has never averaged less than 6 assists throughout his career.
Exactly.
You know, if one thing that he could do is pass the ball, then he can get up and down the floor. He's going to play defense. He's going to do everything that you need to run a basketball team. So, as you know, DSJ, you know, the pressure is on for him to start for himself in the career and all this other stuff. But like Ross said, he has that boom factor. You know, so he's always going to be he's always going to help the Knicks in some kind of way. But we'll have Elfrid Payton as that benchmark guy that we can put in and just, you know, let him just run a team. If we need Dennis to get out there and do his thing, you know, then we can always call his name.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
right.
Elfrid came into the league when he was in Orlando. He came into the league really being able to play defense, being able to set up an offense, and being able to get to the basket. He could not shoot when he came in the league, and he still can't shoot. So that's who he is. So if you're looking to teach Frank and to teach DSJ how to run a team, this guy is a good role model because that's what he came in the league doing. This is his role. And in his press conference, they asked him, and he said, I'm going to do whatever the coaches tell me to do. But he's ready to become a mentor if he needs to be. And I like that. I think he'll be a good.
I think his hair. I think his hairstyle messed him up too, man.
Hairstyle,
I think that's the absolute reason why he can't shoot. Just because of that stupid hairstyle.
I don't know what that was all about, man. That was. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah. I thought that was distracting the defense. They were looking at the flight hair. Right?
It threw his equilibrium off, man. His balance is off, so he can't shoot him. You can't see the rim.
Right. He, you know, people get on him because they say, well, he's always been on bad teams. And this, well, you know, really, realistically, he's only been on Orlando as far as like really, really being on a bad team. And he was drafted and they were a bad team. He was traded to Phoenix. He played there for like 20 games.
Yeah, like a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and then he signed with New Orleans. And they probably would have had a better season if Anthony Davis was healthy all season long. And they didn't have that whole thing going on with Anthony Davis wanting to leave and that whole debacle. Yeah. Right?
The key word is team. He didn't have a good team around him. So you can't just blame the one player for the whole team's reason why they're not good.
I was just wondering, what do you think? I don't know. I don't understand what happened with Elfrid. I thought he would thrive in Phoenix next to Devin Booker. I thought he would because of his style, but I guess it didn't work out.
Well, was it New Orleans or was it Phoenix where he had that string of triple doubles? Was that New Orleans?
I think it was New Orleans.
I think it was New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a string of like 5 triple doubles in a row or something like that, right? I think it was New Orleans.
When he went to Phoenix, I was like, oh man, he's going to be good because he gets to the basket, he sets up his team, and I was like, next to Devin, that should work well, but apparently it didn't. But I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that should have worked. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know, and maybe he just didn't like being there, and he found a better offer in New Orleans, right? Because he went to New
Phoenix
Orleans as a free agent.
Too. Yeah, Phoenix has always been flaky. They keep getting all these. They always carry 3 starting point guards. Remember, they had Isaiah Thomas and whatever. Even go back further, they had Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, and Kevin Johnson at one time back in the day. So they always been kind of flaky.
EP is from Louisiana.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. He's from Louisiana. Yep. So, but hey, Raw, I know you got something you got to get to in a couple of minutes, man. So I don't want to hold you up from getting to that.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
But we appreciate you. And Eru, we can stay for a couple more minutes and, chop it up about a couple more things if you want to.
Okay. I got about 4 minutes. I'm starting about 7:20.
Okay, starting about 7:20. All right. So we were talking about Elfrid Payton. I don't know. I think that I'm not expecting Elfrid Payton to be a star, but he'll be a good stopgap guy. And if you do end up getting a starting point guard, I would not be surprised to see that he sticks around as a backup point guard if you get a starting point guard from someplace.
Yeah, it depends, because I think that's what this year is about. You're going to find out what roles the young guys are going to end up playing. So if it depends. So I can see Frank being a backup to somebody, like if they get a Cade Cunningham or they get a Jalen Suggs or somebody like that, or they get a veteran that's somebody that's more established, a star point guard. I can see him backing that up, and so that might be the role, or they might have him as a Swiss Army knife type guy. But I think this season we're going to see whatever the situation is. We're going to end up finding out. We're going to find out about Dennis Smith. We're going to find out about Frank. We're going to find out about Kevin. We're going to find out about Mitch. We're going to find out about all these guys this season. And I think that's why they brought in all these 1-year deal guys, because every one of these guys that came in that's on a 1-year deal is a career journeyman or a backup. They're not really star NBA players. So I think these guys are just stopgaps to see what our youth got, what the youth come through with. So we're gonna find out, and I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. Big shout out to Pedro Matos. He said the most important thing is who's starting the last game of the season, not the first.
He's right.
You're right. You're very much right. Get your point. Very much right. Shout out to other channel name. He said it's looking like Peyton, RJ, Obi, Randall, and Nerlens Noel will start. Not too bad, I guess, but he's not a fan of Peyton. I don't see that happening. I think instead of Obi, it's probably going to be Alec Burks or Reggie Bullock. I don't want to force Obi. Like, everyone wants to force Obi to start. If he starts, he starts. That's cool with me. Everyone wants to force him to start, and then so they say, well, we'll just put him at the 3 when he's probably not going to be suited to defend the 3 in the NBA, and then it's going to look bad on him.
Yeah, because Tibbs is not going to put him out there to get embarrassed if he's not ready to play defense. It's not going to happen. And plus, Tibbs wants to win, so there's that. So we'll see. Right. But this is, like I said, we'll see. The camp's going to tell it, and I'm not going to make. Like I said, it doesn't matter who's starting in the first preseason game, man. It really doesn't.
It doesn't.
It's irrelevant at this point.
Yeah. It's going to be. We'll probably see a bunch of different lineups. But I do think, unlike coaches in the past, I do think that Tom Thibodeau was going to find his group of guys and rock with them. Yes. And then if somebody is hurt, or if someone's having a really bad game, then you say, well, let's try this guy out. Let's try that guy out. I think he's going to find his 9 to 10 guys and rock with those 9 to 10 guys.
You're right.
The other guys will just be, they'll just be asked out until they get an opportunity.
Yeah. Listen, I got to drop off, man. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, Raw.
Always nice to be with you guys. It's really a highlight to be hanging out with you guys on Tuesday night.
Nah, man, it's a highlight to be hanging out with you, man. We really appreciate it.
Hey, always good to see you, Raw.
Yeah, man.
Same here. We'll talk soon.
All right, my brother.
Salute to the chat.
Peace, Raw. All right. Hold on. Let me get this from the background. There we go. I think that's good now. Guess we can stay on just a couple more minutes. The Knicks waived Jacob Evans today. Right, so they're starting.
That's a surprise. Woo! That was such a surprise. Suspense. Right. Suspense. Where they gonna keep Evans? Oh my God.
So they're starting to dwindle down that roster. Who's going to be the next guys? And I see someone say it's Wednesday. Yahoo Elia, you said it's Wednesday. We know this was supposed to be on yesterday, but I had an emergency doctor's appointment, and we weren't able to be on yesterday, so we did it today. But normally it's on Tuesday, all right? And also a big shout out to Jamar. Thank you for becoming a member. And Eric L. Booker. That's, Eric is a DJ. You know what I'm saying? If you watch his Instagram, man, you see him up there with all kinds of people. He be getting it in, man. Big shout out to my man, E.L. Booker. But anyway,
he sells watches too, right? Yeah. Go check his website. He got the watches. Right. He got the hookup with the watches.
Right. So who's going to be the next guys to drop off? So Jacob Evans dropped off. What do you think is going to happen with Amari Spellman?
I like Amari Spellman, man, but like you always allude to, like, he has to get himself in shape. So that's all show and prove. If he doesn't get himself in shape, then he's going to have to figure that out, because there's a guy that they just signed, Skal Labrassiere, or however you say his name. They got another guy. He's ready. I'm surprised he's not even on the NBA team. So we got a guy like that already signed to the G League. So, I mean, that kind of pushes Spellman on the fence right now, so he might be somebody that might be, looking for a job, looking for another location because of that,
Yeah. So what do they have? 19 guys now in camp? Because they picked up those other 2 guys. I don't know if those 2 guys are going to be, if they're going to play in the preseason game, because you can have 20 guys play. You can have 20 guys on your, on your team, And then once the first game starts, it's got to be dwindled down to 15, 17, including
I think Mark Stein said that they're going straight to the G League. But they'll be in training camp training, but they're definitely going to just play for the G League whenever that starts.
Yeah. I'm hoping the best for Iggy, man. Got all these guys coming in. Hoping the best for Iggy. One guy we know, if he doesn't make the team, he's not going to be in the G League, and that's Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, right? If he doesn't make the team, if he makes the team, that means Iggy is probably gone. If he doesn't make the team, then, I don't know.
I can't see Michael Kidd-Gilchrist making a team, man. I can't see him making a team. I think he's just there just to like bang guys, just an extra defender to mix it up with Knox and different stuff like that, just for practice purposes. Mm-hmm. But I can't see MKG making a team. I think he's just doing a favor for Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau just to show the guys. Yeah, that's what I think.
Probably. He's a CAA guy. He's a CAA guy, right? And he's from Kentucky, so it's like, we're doing solid. Just the same way they brought in J.R. Smith's brother in the camp.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah, right? they just doing the doing due diligence, doing guys a nice favor. Yeah, maybe he needs like to pay his mortgage or something like that, so they throw him a little check just so he can
he
keep the ends meeting.
Though. He should be paid. He had a nice contract.
Yeah.
But I guess
he shoots like this, man. So no telling how he spends his money.
Yeah. He should spend some money on that shot. That's what he needs to do. He needs to spend some money on the shot. But I mean, maybe he's on his last legs in the NBA, and they kind of know that. So it's like, let's help him out. Maybe we can showcase him a little bit, and then see if he gets picked up by another. Who was he? Who did he end the season with last year? Forgot now.
I have no idea. Did he even play?
He was in the playoffs last year.
Jesus Christ!
He was in the playoffs, and he played.
I'm quite sure that team didn't do well, whatever team he was on.
I mean, I think he played a few. He was with Dallas.
Okay.
He was with Dallas last season. He didn't play much, but I think he played a few playoff minutes for defensive purposes.
Okay. Right. But speaking of that, guys that are on the team just to take up minutes, take up space, waving towel. Theo Pinson, man, I think he got a big X on his back, man. I don't know his purpose in anything. I don't know, man. What do you think about Theo Pinson?
I don't know. All the reports that I've seen about Theo Pinson is that Leon Rose likes him because of he's a professional. He's
a professional.
Yeah, I mean that's everything that I've read. Leon Rose likes him because he's a good locker room guy and he's a professional.
I mean, is he his godfather or something like that? Is there a bar mitzvah that he's like? I don't understand.
Right.
There's no point to have him. It's kind of a waste of time. And he has a two-way contract. It's a waste.
He has a two-way contract. Right. He has a two-way contract. He replaced Kenny Wooten on the two-way contract.
Right.
I mean, he was cooking in the G League last year. Not cooking, but he cooked a little bit.
He was cooking like Isaiah.
He cooked a little. he cooked a little bit. He cooked a little bit.
Oh my God.
I mean, he actually shot, what was it, 35%? I mean, in the NBA, he shot like 19% from three or something like that. But in the G League, I think he was like 35% or something like that from three.
No.
I mean, he was actually a guy that in the G League, he was like 15 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists or something like that. It's in the G League.
So is he at the family reunion when you go to the family reunion? Is that why you're talking good about Theo Pinson? You guys related too?
Yeah. Let me see what he was in the G League. Theo Pinson. All right. Let me see what he do in the G League.
I think they erased it. They erased it?
Yeah, it was 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. He shot 37% from three. For his career in the G League, he averages 19.5 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists, and he shoots 38% from three.
Nice. Congratulations, Theo Pinson.
Yeah, he got it going. He's got it going on in the G League.
Yeah,
Hasn't translated to the NBA, but he's got it going on in the G League. If they play, I'm gonna get a chance to go catch a couple of G League games.
Yeah, the G League games, they're all basically corporate. So I've been to a few of them, and it's a good atmosphere. That little arena they have up there in Westchester is not a bad place to be. Yeah, now, I'm looking for the Knicks to win the G League championship, man. All the players that we're gonna have over there.
Yo, I mean, yeah, we got to get, we got to find a way to do some stuff on the Westchester Knicks, man, because like you can get to a game. I bought tickets to. I watched the Knicks. Westchester Knicks play against the Capital City Go-Go last year. And I think I spent $25 on my seats, and I was right behind. I was like 5 feet from the bench, right behind the bench. 5 feet from the bench. If I wanted to go up a little bit more, I could have sat on the court, literally.
Yo, you ever been to the Westchester Arena?
No, I haven't.
Yo, the arena's so small. It's almost like a church league. It almost looks like a church the way that it's set up. So like you could be in the top, because there's never really a lot of people, and you could fart in the top, and you could hear it on the mic for the play-by-play. You can hear it on the play-by-play mic. Right. You know what I'm saying? You can hear the guy in the back. Excuse me.
Yeah, that was the arena that the arena that I went to watch the Knicks play the Capital City Go-Go. It was a similar arena. I mean, it went up. If you had 200 level seats and that was the highest that it went, I mean, you had excellent seats to see everything. You know what I mean? But hey, Theo Pinson, we'll see. You know what I mean? I don't know. He's a CAA guy. That's Leon Rose guy. We'll see what they do with him. By the time we get to the end of training camp, though, everything will be cleared up. We'll know who's going where, who's doing what, and we'll have a roster to look forward to. Pretty much we know who's going to be on the roster. But, yeah, I can't wait, man. I'm definitely going to be live on Friday doing the game.
I'll be there. Man. I'm salivating, man. I'm already clearing out space. I already bought my wife a nice present, man. I'm going to slide it over there to her.
There you go.
Put a little what do you call Benadryl in the kids' drink, you know what I'm saying? Slide them onto the side,
Right. Hey, you got to do it. You got to do it. You know what I'm saying?
You got to do it.
This is the time.
You need that space. You need that time. You need that time and space.
This year is from December until June. Just let me be. Just let me be with the Knicks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let me be with the Knickstress. That's what you can call it. The Knickstress. Not the mistress, the Knickstress.
The Knickstress. You should copyright that joint, man. That's a good one.
Yeah. Shoot. Well, look, I do want to let people know, man, check us out on the NBKfam.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can check that out. We got some people writing up there. Evergreen just dropped an article today. Josh dropped an article today. So, that article's got some stuff in there.
We got a lot of words in it, probably.
Yeah, you might want to go check that out, and see what he's talking about. And we're going to have some, we're putting together a couple of fantasy leagues for you guys to jump into. So we could play some fantasy basketball together. We'll do some live drafts and stuff like that. It's going to be dope. Yeah. All right, so make sure you check that NBKfam.com. I'm about to put it in the chat. And I'm going to pin it so you guys can go check it out. Actually, let me put it like this, NBKfam.com. All right, so make sure you check it. It's also in the description. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or wherever else you're listening to it, you're going to have to go to youtube.com/nothingbutnicks so you can click on the link, or just go to nbkfam.com. It's not that hard to remember. Not that hard at all, Yeah. And make sure you go check out Raw Hebrew and his YouTube page. It's got a lot of good Knicks content on there that you want to listen to. And go search up Die Hard Knicks on all platforms. Check out the podcast. Yeah. Make sure you do that. Audio platforms, YouTube, Sportscaster, everybody, man. I'm on everybody's podcast. I'm like the Sean Price of podcasting, man. Bro, I'm the brokest podcaster man. I just might sell some crack after the show, too. That's the way podcasting goes, man. You guys just don't know. Shoot.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, anything else you want to drop in there before we get out of here?
No, man, just continue to support, man. Get out there and subscribe to somebody's podcast. I think it's mine. Subscribe to mine, man, so you can see what I'm doing, so I don't have to be working these streets, Yeah,
Yeah, man.
I'm having fun, man. I'm joking and stuff like that. But we have a lot of fun doing this, man. So I just like to thank everybody for tuning in and just welcome me into the whole NBK family, man. It's
yeah, no doubt, man. And we're gonna make sure that Raw Hebrew and Die Hard Knicks podcast links are in the description of the video, so you can go ahead and make sure you check that out and go subscribe, follow, whatever it is, man. All right, Ebru, man. Appreciate it, man. And I'll catch you next week. I'm gonna see what's going on. Checking out your podcast. I'm actually getting ready to go on with Legion and Knicks in about an hour.
Yeah, shout out to Guillermo, man. He's the man too.
Yeah, man. And then I'm gonna be on Legion and Knicks in an hour. Then I'll be doing Front Stoop after that. Then I'm going to play basketball.
What?
Yeah, man. I'm going to play basketball. Me and my daughter got a workout tonight at 10:30.
Wow.
We'll be there until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. We do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then I'll come home, and I'm pretty sure Knicks at Night will be on. So
yeah, Uncle Freeze you for like the next 12 hours. It's gonna be on YouTube,
right.
Taking up all the bandwidth and stuff.
Yeah,
but for me,
exactly.
E-Rule, in the next 2 minutes, I'm gonna be sleeping. I'm gonna be in the bed knocked out because I'm freaking tired, man.
Man. All right, man. I appreciate the time, my brother.
No doubt, man.
We out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful.